What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Like always, like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, hit the notification bell. Finally, it took me 7 days. I finally finished Tom Clancy's executive order. If you're going in chronological order, this is book 10, I believe. In chronological order of the Jack Ryan universe, basically. It's like all 40-something books between him and his Jack Ryan Jr. and all that stuff. All the authors that kept going, that carried on, the Clancy legacy and the Jack Ryan universe books and all that stuff. Solid 10 out of 10. I absolutely love the book. It would have been probably dang near tied for my most favorite book of all time with Sum of All Fears. But the problem it has is it just stays past its welcome. It could have done, this would have been the best book in the history of the universe if it was about 300 or 400 pages less, for sure. At least 300 pages less. There was a lot in it that just didn't even need to be in it. Like, unless I'll get it right out of the way. There's some characters called the Mountain Men or whatever that just keep popping up throughout the book, watching everything that's going on, especially Jack Ryan and his presidency and everything, that's because a lot is going on. But I don't even know why they were needed in the book. They didn't do nothing really. I mean, they had some play in the plot, but I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, they could have been left out. Unless they come up in, The Bear and the Dragon or some later books or something. I don't know. I haven't got there yet. But that's just one of the things. The best part about this book compared to the other Clancy books I've read is there was a lot more story involved in this one. Another reason why it was probably so long. It was just phenomenal storytelling. He did a fantastic job in this one. It wasn't just extreme amounts of dialogue and technical details of weapons and ships and planes and all that. There was lots of story. It was really good. So a lot was going on in the book. You have Ryan, who's in Dead of Honor, the president's assassinated, and all of a sudden now Ryan is the president, and the country's in turmoil. The world sees what's going on. Everything's crazy, and this dude has to make decisions with no Congress, no nothing. They all got, blown up by the plane that crashed into the building that they were all in at the end of Dead of Honor. So here he is navigating these waters. You have the vice president from Dead of Honor who was into the shady stuff, did bad things. He's trying to undermine Ryan, because he does some stuff to try to say he should be the one that should be president because he never technically resigned. All this stuff's going on. While that's going on, you're following this new leader in Iran has one of his people who's close to the dictator in Iraq. Well, they assassinate the dictator in Iraq. Iran moves in, tells the leaders there that, look, you either join us or, you die. Pretty much, in a nutshell. There's a lot more to it than that. So now you have this new country forming called the United Islamic Republic or something like that. And it's just crazy. Another thing that's going on in the book in Africa, cases of Ebola are popping up, a strain that is very contagious. And for some reason, your leader in Iran is interested in these Ebola cases, and his number one doctor is there taking care of these patients. And all of a sudden, you have this doctor flying one of the patients over to Iran. They fake a plane crash so nobody knows where they went. They also get a bunch of the monkeys that carry the disease or the virus, whatever, and they get those to Iran because guess what they're doing? They're creating a weapon of biological warfare. Totally nerve-wracking crap. To me, this is scarier than the possibility of a nuclear bomb like in Sum of All Fears. Because, with technology, what are the odds of the nuclear bomb getting fired at, one country in particular or another, and actually making it there before, somebody shoots it out of the sky or whatever. But a biological weapon like this, even though the military people I've talked to and discussed stuff with about this book and my own ideas for, a future book I have, which have changed completely now, they say it's kind of illogical to go with the biological weapon part. It's such a mass scale that you get with this book. But the crazy thing that I thought while I was reading this book, with everything going on, Ebola is spiked in the Democratic Republic of Congo right now. A lot of cases of this new strain, and they're trying to contain it. So they say we're at war with Iran in real life right now. And that's where you go in this book. Not President Jack Ryan in the book is, and get mad at me if you want. He's doing a far better job than our current POTUS at the moment. But that's just my opinion. I'm not going to get political. Think what you want, do what you want. But smite me, smitey ones. I don't care. That's funny for me to say it. But Tom Clancy just hit a lot of nails on the head with the book. And let's talk about the cover. All 6 minutes into the video. At random, after I probably pissed everybody off and lose a bunch of subscribers for no freaking reason. Oh, we don't see any cover design artist on here. But there's not much design to it. But this simplistic design I love. Okay, so back to the book. The leader of Iran, this crazy psycho guy, he's out of his mind. He not only has agents that are basically sleeper cells in the United States getting ready to basically try to kidnap Ryan's daughter. They have one that's worked his way up as a Secret Service agent for the president. Not only is that going on, they figured out how to turn this Ebola strain into air. They made it air it's aerosol. It's an aerosol variant. So it passes through the air. So they send all these, basically, just their people to different conventions that are happening at the same time across the United States. And they release little shaving cream cans of this strain of Ebola across the United States. All while this is going on, China is starting to get into conflict with Taiwan. Sounds all too familiar of our modern times. That's what made this reading of this book a little freakier too. It's just crazy that all this shit was going on back then. It's still going on because a lot of what he wrote about was things that they were all witnessing back then, and that's what made his thrillers so his writing so conflicting and it gives you such like a little bit of an anxiety rush as you're reading the book because it's pretty dang close to realistic stuff, even though. He takes a lot of liberty and simplifies a lot of things so you can have a good flow of a story. And, like I said, this book, the storytelling is phenomenal. It's first class. It's the best, as far as he goes, some of the best storytelling I've read so far. And I understand why this one is a lot of people's absolute favorite. This one is definitely top 5 for me. And, yeah. And if I take off the one I read, Red Winter by Mark Cameron, it'd be top 4. So out of the 10 Clancy books I've read. And it just was an amazing piece of work. I mean, the final 150 or so pages, the war combat, when, Ryan sends the military, they're going they team up with Kuwait and Saudi Arabia, and they're going after, this new country. It's just some of the greatest descriptive, I mean, I don't have much to compare it to. But it's the best, war scene I could ever have pictured in my head. And I was flying through it because I was ready to be done with this damn book. But it was still so good at the end. It was just amazing. And if you made it this far, please don't unsubscribe because I made the little smite at our current leader compared to Jack Ryan. If this was to happen in real life that leads up to his presidency, I don't think any of us could comprehend the sheer volume of just chaos and just everything that would come with this. And if something like this was to happen to our country, a biological weapon of war released, and people are just getting sick and dying everywhere, I think we just can't comprehend anything like that because it's so crazy to think about. And it's just the way he gets it going, Clancy gets it going throughout the book is just insane. It makes you think. But at the same time, this book came out in 1996. Times were different back then. If you were alive back then, you probably remember the fear of imminent nuclear war from, the Middle East. It was going to blow us all up. We were all going to die of nuclear war. I was literally doing drills in school like it was the freaking 50s or something, going under the desk. And I was like, what are we doing? We're little kids. I remember this stuff vividly. I remember watching some documentary with my mom and her friends, and they were just like showing all these like futuristic visuals of what Saddam Hussein was going to look like when he was old after he obliterated the world. It was ridiculous crap. Um, I remember all that. I remember when people were afraid to open their mail because they thought anthrax was going to spray in their face, and we were all going to die. Like this is just everything that's happened in the last decade. We've just forgotten about because the internet and social media and our phones and all that stuff, these TikToks and the reels and all this stuff has just programmed us to have the shortest term memories imaginable. But you know what? I don't have a short term memory. I don't even know if it's a blessing or a curse. I don't know if I'm gifted because I can remember everything forever. You know what I mean? Like, I can usually only watch a movie once because I'll remember it like I watched it yesterday and it's been 20 freaking years. So it kind of ruins things for me. If I want to watch it again, I'm like, well, I just remember this too vividly. I can't do it. You know what I mean? So I remember all the crap that was happening way back then. People tend to forget that it's been chaotic and nuts like it is right now with the current state of our economy and the world. It's happened repetitively over and over again for freaking ever. But now we have social media basically just blowing our brains out with information and misinformation. No one knows what the hell is true anymore. And we don't even know what we're looking at half the time because now we got to contend with AI. And I'll tell you one thing, it can't write books. So anybody that's writing books with AI, you're a moron. It can't write. But what it can do is make videos, and those people look kind of real. You got to really look for a minute and you're like, okay, this looks off. It's freaking AI. So now we're dealing with all this crazy stuff, and I'm just off on a tangent, but basically what I'm saying is this dude was coming up with this crap he basically predicted a lot of stuff. Like, I remember it was like 2012 or 2013 or something. We had the Ebola scare. Nobody even talks about that. I swear people just forgot that even happened. I remember going to my doctor's appointments and we all had a mask up because everybody thought we were going to get Ebola and die. And then, of course, we had COVID. I'm too stupid to know what the hell, even COVID, what the hell, what's true, what's not, because on one side, you have like 50% of people saying it was just bull crap to pump us full of new crap and kill people, I guess. And then on the other side, you have people that claim they lost people. I don't know. It's been 6 years since that, and I don't even want to think about it. That was just a shitty time for everybody. But this dude freaking wrote about it, almost 20, 30 years ago. He was talking about this stuff. And it's just crazy that he just, I don't know. And what is even crazier is Ryan wasn't even a diplomat or a politician, and he becomes president. And then in 2016, we see this happen. We get a president that has no business. We're not going to go there. We're not going to go there because I'm going to get too crazy. I've already lost it. This book is just a freaking amazing book. Sum of All Fears, Debt of Honor, and this book, the three of them together, should be like some sort of god dang history fiction course in school. Like, kids need to read this and realize like the fear they pound down our throats every day on social media and the news. It's been happening forever. It's been happening since we've had sources of information to rely on, whether it was freaking 1896 and all you had was the newspaper, to nowadays you could just pick up your phone, open up Facebook, and like, okay, who blew up who? What ravaging disease is wiping out some poor freaking nation that needs resources and help, and nobody's helping them? It's mind-boggling to me. It blows my freaking mind that everybody forgot about everything that's ever happened if it didn't happen last week. You know what I mean? And half the time, people don't even remember what the hell was going on last week. You know what I mean? It blows my mind that this dude was writing this stuff and coming up with, it's fiction. He's making it up. and it's just so, it's eerie to me. I guess that's 15 minutes later where I'm going at is it's freaking eerie to me that he came up with this crap. And I can't wait to read I think the next book in the chronological order is Rainbow Six, and then The Bear and the Dragons after that. I have no idea what either one are. I know I've been eager to get to Rainbow Six because Without Remorse was my first Clancy book, and it was freaking badass. It was just, John Clark is a badass. And, I followed that. They said that one was the first if you're going chronological. Read them. You can read pretty much any order you kind of want, but oh man, I don't know. I went totally nuts in this video. I'm sorry. I just got amped up. I finished the book. The final sequence was freaking amazing. And the way Jack Ryan's just, the dude's got balls in the book and he makes ballsy moves. Clancy just wrote him so good. Yes, if you're on the liberal side of things, you're going to find some conflicts of interest within Clancy's words. But he does a good job of balancing things out throughout the book. A lot of his political aspects are pushed into the book, but, it's a product of the time. Who would have known that our Republican and Democratic parties that we have in 2026 were going to turn into this, tumultuous demise of insanity that we have now. This absolute, circus we're watching before our eyes. Our kids got to grow up in this. And it's completely insanely stressful. I go to bed at night thinking, holy shit, I need to start, getting back outdoors and going with, my kids as grandfathers and target practice and get back into those old habits I used to have. Even though it's probably a minute, 0.01% chance that we would ever have to backtrack into those survival instincts. But damn, you know what I mean? This dude's writing gets you thinking about things. It's completely insane. I mean, Executive Orders, a 10-10. It's my second favorite. It doesn't beat Sum of All Fears for me, but it's my second freaking favorite Tom Clancy book. And probably, top 5 favorite book of all time. Tom Clancy just, I'm so cracked out with literature right now. You know what I mean? The only thing I do besides eat meat is drink coffee, and I didn't have that much. That's just how good this book was. It got me amped up. And I watched the news this morning, and it kind of made me mad, but, what are you going to do? And that's another thing, he goes through the, basically corruption of the media back then and how they twist everything Ryan's saying. Don't compare that to our media and our current leader, but where I'm going with that is, a military friend of mine told me, I'm going to be writing these books. I need to research things, and I probably should watch the news again to see what's going on in the world. So I started looking through news channels. They were all horrible. It was horrible. It was all just nothing that helped me know what was going on globally. I finally found a foreign news site. I think they're based in QAE or Saudi Arabia or something, but they're in English, and it's a lot more less biased. They're covering things all across the globe. So it's much better. But then, I start thinking, because they're showing the Ebola cases happening, different wars going on, because there's several. It's not just America versus Iran. Nobody's paying attention to the other just terrible. Russia and Ukraine, it's just a horrible war. It needs to end. And then the war in Sudan is just terrible. And there's so many wars across Africa. Those people are suffering so bad. It's insane that nobody's helping them. I just don't get it. You know what I mean? And I've been doing a lot of reading into Africa, because my first few books I'm writing in the military thriller genre are all, kind of centered around that continent, because it's such a luscious, beautiful place that's being torn apart by, religious wars. You know what I mean? When is it going to stop? When are we going to end this just, I don't even know the right vocabulary to convey the message I want to say right now. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Everybody knows. Everybody's feeling the same way I'm feeling. I'm not the only one. And Clancy's books just bring he just fuels that fire inside of you, and not a bad way. I'm not in a bad mood. I'm in a great mood. The book was it was fantastic. I just couldn't believe it. You know what I mean? It sucks that it took me 7 days. You know, there's a lot of crap I could have read in 7 days, but you know, it was worth it in the end. It was worth it. So I'm gonna end the video there. Before I end, I am currently, I read 30 pages today. Before I came home to finish Executive Orders. Super great guy. He's been helping me so much with my own writing, and his book is phenomenal. 30 pages in, it's super military tech, just boots on the ground right now. I'm loving every 30 pages. I've loved every page. So we'll see if it stays on that trajectory. It's a perfect follow-up for this, you know, gigantic tome of a book. So I'm having a good time with it. But that's the video today, guys. Like and subscribe. I went nuts. I'm sorry. You know, if you want to argue with me in the comments, go ahead. I probably won't respond to any hate comments. But if you're my normal people, I freaking love you. And you've watched me throughout the years go nuts about certain things. And the world's on fire right now, guys. You know, you got to be blind to ignore it. And his writing gets you, you know, looking at things through a different perspective. And it just, I love this dude. He's my favorite writer of all time. No doubt about it. Tom Clancy, then Dean Koontz. No doubt about it. That's the video today, guys. Like, subscribe. Later.